All right. So we are in day 30 of Course of Love, and the topic is wholeness. If anybody can recall a page, what page are we on?
629.
Thank you, Kath. Who would like to be? Do you have an order there? We'll go according to Kevin.
Chantel, you're first.
Day 30, yielding to wholeness. What is held in common is shared and is a characteristic representation of the whole. Just as simple fractions can be added together to achieve wholeness, once a common denominator is found. Your own fractiousness can yield to wholeness through the common denominator of the self. A common denominator is simply that which yields to wholeness. This yielding is a natural process. To yield is to give up, surrender, but also to produce and bear fruit. The two levels of experience we have spoken of might be seen as the process, much like in math, through which the common denominator is found. The common denominator is not by itself the whole, but is in combination the whole. In order for a common denominator to be found, more than one fraction, part, or variable must exist. The purpose of finding a common denominator is to translate what is more than one into one. An assumption of wholeness is common in every denominator.
Thanks, Chantel. Everybody get that?
Crystal clear.
Kathy, you reading today?
Yep, sure. A denominator is a named entity. To denominate is to name. In the beginning, the separate expressions of the whole were named. This naming was an act of creation, stating simply the existence of what was named or denominated. Existence and wholeness are the same. Thus, your existence, the existence of the self, is or can be a common denominator or wholeness. In an act of saying, it is so, we name.
Kath.
Mm,
Excuse me, Kath. Would you mind just slowing it down a little bit?
of course, yeah, sure.
Reading it really nicely. It just needs to be slowed down a bit for
A
me.
bit slow, yeah, a bit slower.
Thank you.
No worries. In our act of saying, it is so, we or denominate the self as what is common to wholeness. Despite unlimited variations being available, commonality is also always available. Thus, no matter how fractious are the separate selves, commonality and wholeness always exist and have always existed.
Mm.
Mm. Wow.
Beautiful, huh?
Mm.
That's an amazing sentence. That's no matter how fractious are the separate,
Fractious.
huh?
Fractious.
It's
Sorry.
fractious.
Yeah. Are the separate self, commonality and wholeness always exist and have always existed.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Mm. Really lovely.
You finished, Kath?
I can keep going.
Right, no, you can finish off. Yeah.
Wholeness cannot be achieved without joining. Thus, the commonly known injunction of where two are or more are joined together. If you would think of this in terms of God or the state of wholeness or beingness, separating into more than one in order to know itself, you would see that knower and known are one. You would see that two or more is needed in order for knowing to occur. To not know wholeness would be to be in the state of nothingness. Thus, the joining of two or more are needed in order for wholeness to be known, and thus to exist as a state of conscious awareness.
Mm.
I might as well finish it off, Kath.
Mm-hmm.
Let us consider this in terms of experience. As knower and known are one, experience and experiencer are one. In other words, one must experience in order to know. It follows then that what is experienced is what is known. It also follows then that to not experience joining is to not experience wholeness. Stated another way, the self cannot know the self without joining this with the self. The self must be the knower and the known, the experience and the experiencer. The quest to join with God is this quest. The quest to be the knower and the known, the experience and the experiencer, the culmination of this quest then is joining.
Everybody ready to go on to the next one?
Well, we're still integrating.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, me too. Like this,
Mm.
always allow a little bit of that quiet time. that okay with everyone?
Sure.
Mhm. Beautiful. Oh, mhm. Anyone would like to add anything to this? You guys feel that kind of joining that happens? Yeah, it's very subtle, but there it is. All right, the next one is also very short.
Anthony, you reading?
Now that we are already in joining, let's read joining.
Day 31, joining. Joining is both about union and about relationship. Let us consider this by considering the two levels of experience, that of the mountaintop experience and that of the experience on level ground. While you have been immersed in one level of experience, you have been either either knower or known. This is why experience has seemed to exist apart from you. You say, I had this experience, or I had that experience, as if you have had contact and interaction with circumstances or events that are separate from the self. Hmm. In saying this, you express your realization of relationship, but no realization of the unity in which relationship exists. You know the experience because you have had the experience. The truth that you are, the truth that you are the experience escapes you.
Mm.
Mm. Dun, 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 dun.
Cole, you're next. You're on mute.
What the mountaintop experience is helping you to see is that you are the experience. The mountaintop experience did not happen to you or happen separately from you. It has happened and is happening within you. You are the experience and the experiencer, the knower and the known. This joining is the point of the experience and the key to experiencing wholeness. As has already been stated, wholeness could not be experienced without division. Oh, wow, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? It has already been stated, wholeness could not be experienced without division. Wholeness and oneness are the same. You are one in being with your Father, your Creator, the originator and dominator of life,
Denominator.
denominator of life. To have experienced only separation is to have known only half of any experience, and to have seen every experience is only one dimension. In short, you have seen experience as happening to you rather than as you. By realizing the unity of the relationship in which the experience becomes manifest, you not only realize oneness, but you realize that you are a creator and that you always have been. How's that? I have always been. Thank you.
Sam. Reading today, Sam?
Yeah, I can read. Um,
31.6.
31.6. All experience is a product of knower and knowing. It is the self knowing itself as one individuated self. Joining is differentiated from union only by experience. Union is the realm of the one. Joining is where the realm of the one unites with the realm of the many. And each of the many is the one, the common denominator. By knowing the one in the many, experience can be achieved within wholeness. The beginning of this knowing occurs within, with the known or experiencing of the one within the individuated self. Notice the link here of knowing and experiencing. To know experience as the self is to know the self as creator, or in other words, to know the one self within the individuated self. To know the one self within the individuated self is to join the two. The two are thus joined in the relationship of experience. Experience is not known separately from the self. Self and God are one and experienced together in wholeness. For the individuated self to experience separately from God is to negate the purpose of the experience of the self, which is God. To negate is to deny what is. I have to read it something. The two are thus joined in the relationship of experience. Experience is not known separately from the self. Self and God are one and experiencing together in wholeness. For the individuated self to experience separately from God is to negate the purpose of the experience of the self, which is God. To negate is to deny what is. The denial of what is the source of separation. The acceptance of what is the source of union and the ability to experience in all.
Beautiful. Guys, will I embark on the next one? How is it sinking in today? Anyone?
It
Yeah.
feels like there's. Go ahead, Anthony.
We go,
Oh,
Patricia.
you go, Patricia. You go.
It's 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 beginning to feel like there's another level of union and oneness that we haven't really experienced or haven't really, you know, there's another level there that I never saw before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I went and sat with someone and read a bit of John from the Gospel that had died, because in the Steiner church they have person dies and then they have a couple of days of people sitting with the body, and it was such a beautiful experience. It was so, and I felt so whole and one. She was just asleep and yeah, she was so peaceful and it was such a palpable experience. And yeah, and so I had that beautiful experience of wholeness yesterday and oneness. And I keep wanting it to come back. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. That felt like the next level chapter, that one. I don't
Sure.
know. You just got of
Yeah.
like it's all me, that kind
Mm.
of feel.
Yes. And it's that last sentence, the acceptance of what is the source of union. So no matter what we feel, if we
Yeah.
accept, it's usually the non-acceptance that separates it. If I don't accept something, there is two. One is there, and that the one is who is not accepting, right? And that splits us into the two camps, right? But if you can accept whatever's occurring genuinely, yeah,
Yeah. And if you take
I
God,
don't even.
take
Oh,
God,
carry on.
if you take God and yourself to every situation, it's a, it's just it's what it's all about. But when I don't, it's like I'm denying what
mm,
is,
yes,
really pushing everything away because I'm ashamed or resisting what is.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's amazing.
Yes. And talking about these experiences that are beautiful, like Kath was saying, this is the trick. When you practice a little bit of this accepting what is, it becomes proficient at it. So you simply allow whatever is pass through rather than separate from. Yeah.
Mm,
What begins to happen, because you have this beautiful experience and then something happens along the way. You go like, oh, now I'm out of here, let's say. Right there, you split yourself. If you could allow yourself to feel that, oh, now I'm not there, you will be still in that unity. The minute you go and push it down, you separate yourself, and that's how you lose the experience.
mm,
I'm sure many of you had those experiences when you did something and then you were like maybe for a day or even two, sometimes even for a week, in this like an elevated state, and then it disappeared and you go, why did it go? because something arose and it was pushed down, and with that was pushed down that original experience, which is the original cause of everything, really. It's that separating from something that's arising. Make sense? Yeah.
Mm.
That's why I keep going on about it. It's like, hey, become your best friends with your feelings, because these bad feelings will come up even in your most enlightened state. That the only problem is that the only thing difference is that you don't push it away. You go like, oh, I'm experiencing hell.
You know, I actually heard it at a deeper level than that, Cole. Like, not as applying to, you know, our worldly experiences or even our emotions or anything, but it's like as what is, that idea of what is not to do with the world or what we're seeing happen or any of that stuff. What is God, is one with us. That's the what is that is being spoken of. That it's a different way of looking at it.
But if we're in physical form, we can't separate the world from the
Yeah, but he's
divine.
just talking about acceptance of it's just like not being in
Mm.
denial of that, just somehow getting out of the way of being in a
Mm.
denial of that oneness. You know, that
Mhm.
was what I experienced with it.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, there's a teacher, Paul Selleck, talks about when we get concerned about the sins in the world, it just means it's wherever we've denied God.
Mm.
We at some point say God's not in this,
Mm.
whatever's going on. And that's separation.
Mm.
Mm.
And if I say God's not in it, that means I'm not in it. So I'm not responsible.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
separate.
Mm.
When you experience your wholeness, you're experiencing God, because there is nothing, there's no two there. It's that sense of oneness that has to be, and it's a felt experience. It's actually even beyond felt, but the feeling around sustains it. Yeah. It's like an ingredient that when that's involved, then it feels wholesome. It feels as oneness. The sense of separation vanishes, because that's all it is. It's a sense of separation. It's just like we think we're separate. It's like that same old thing. Is like pick a person here on a screen and just unite, or unite with the whole screen, and that intent will generate that experience. Or not. All right, guys, shall we move on before I say another silly thing?
Him, put that drink down and start reading.
My turn, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Day 32, the experience of the self and the power of God. The experience of the self is God. It is not from God. It is not of God. It is God.
Mm.
If all of life is the oneness that is God, and God is chosen to experience that oneness, through relationship,
Mm.
then you are also that experience and are in relationship with God through that experience. Here we must revisit the concepts of oneness and manyness, for if you retain any notions of God that are inaccurate, they will arise here. Let us discuss for a moment the concept of God, because everyone has at least some sort of concept of God.
Mm.
Shall I read one more?
Please do.
First, we will look at the concept of God as supreme being,
Mm.
God as one being, one entity. When thought of in such a way, it is somewhat easier to relate to God than when God is thought of in broader terms. You might think of God as you think of yourself. When thinking of the ideas put forth here, you might think of God deciding to know himself. You might think of God deciding to create. You might think of God creating. You might think of God granting free will to his creations. Then, perhaps, you might think of God resting or standing back and witnessing the unfolding of all that he created.
It's my turn, Kevin.
Yep.
What would the purpose of this be? Would God be standing back, judging himself on the goodness of what he created, thinking that he'd like to make adjustments here or there, perhaps? But no, he has already granted free will, so he can't do that. If the original purpose was knowing himself, what kind of knowing would this provide? Wouldn't this suggest a situation similar to a parent thinking he or she could know him or herself through observation of the children they produced? Another concept of God is that of creator. This concept might have nothing to do with the notion of God wanting to know himself. This concept may be quite amorphous and not tremendously different than scientific notions of the source of life. Whether it be called God or the Big Bang or evolution, this notion presents the concept of something being begun and then turned loose, proceeding from its beginnings under scientific or natural laws.
Who's next, Kev?
Me.
Something. Just had this thought. It was so clear that I'm separate from God, like that.
Oh,
What happens?
Anthony's separate from the group.
He's gone back to God. He's joined with. I think if you
God, poink. That's too good.
that'll show him.
Oh. Oh, that's so cute.
I wonder if sometimes we want to be separate from God. Like it's a good excuse. to, I'm only human. I can't do
Well,
anything about this. I'm helpless. It's up to God.
I had a moment during my reading this morning where I realized that feeling separate from God is a way of actually being able to blame God for everything that's going
Exactly.
on.
Exactly. It's not my fault. And I can't do anything about it. I'm only human.
Yeah. I wonder what's happened to Anthony then.
Maybe his phone died or something.
Oh, maybe.
Might not be able to come back.
Oh dear.
So where did we finish on? Is it the scientific or natural laws?
Mhm. Who's next? Hi,
See,
Kath. Lovely to
Hi.
see
Lovely to see you.
see, Kath.
Actually, I can keep listening.
Okay. All right. Another idea of God within the concept of a creator God is of God existing in all of what has been created. God is within this concept. God is within this concept, seen as the spirit within all that lives, and also seen as an overriding spirit, a force, a unifying factor. God is closer within this idea to being a participatory, funny words, being being which still falls short. Man lives and has free will. Animals abide by the laws of nature. God is still a concept. Yet most religious beliefs encompass the concept of the living God. How might God live? Could he live in time and space in a dimension we know not? Does he live as the spirit within us and as such have some small role, perhaps akin to that of what we refer to as our conscience? What kind of life would this be? A difficult to imagine life, at the very least.
Mhm.
concept of God is not necessary.
Bingo.
False concepts of God, however, are compromising to God and to self. Chantel, are you back? Are you with us still to read?
I'm here, but I'm not reading. Thank
Okay.
you.
Everyone's gone off. Cole, you're next because
Next.
you're next on the screen. I think
Okay.
everyone else has disappeared.
Yep. Jesus spoke to you of his life as an example life. Jesus was called the Son of God and also God. Those who understand the meaning of any or all of the example lives that have come as revelations of who God is understand that those live, understand that those lives.
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 Why don't you all correct me? That's it. In union. I've been corrected in union. Uh, understand that those lives were not separate from God. Yet to believe that God is one can still make you feel as if
Is
you
everyone.
not God.
Everyone.
I read it again. Yet to believe that God is everyone can still make you feel as if you are not God. How can this be? Ta-da! This can be only because in your contemplation of this idea, you lose the sense of self. There's a rebellion. There's a Luciferian rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
There is a rebellion and a negation of either the self or God that occurs when these two concepts of the self and of God, cannot be reconciled or joined in harmony. Either the self or God takes precedence in all lives. All lives. There is no other choice as long as the self and God are seen as separate. Whether God is seen as creator or supreme being, God is still seen as all powerful, while God is seen as the all powerful. Man is disenfranchised. How do you say it?
Disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised. Thank you. Even while God is perhaps seen in all things, or as the spirit by which all that lives, God is still seen as having what man has not. Mm. The list of what one can imagine makes God powerful and man not could be endless, just as one could make an endless list of what they believe differentiates God from man. The example lives in which the power of God was demonstrated in the lives of men and women are seen as little more than pass through situations in which the power of God passed through man and woman to other men and women. Who's next? Welcome back, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony, you're back. What happened? You felt separate from God, and then
Separate from God and all of yous. And then my I just
So,
didn't really experience it.
mm,
What I was saying, it's a kind of, I felt really sad, but then it's just so obvious that that's the belief that I've held. Like, it's like, it's just like, it was amazing.
you blew the electrical circles, it's like circles or something.
Yeah, it did.
Circuits.
It's kind of funny. And when the phone went flat, I just laughed because it was just, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It was funny.
With you for sure. That was cute as.
Yeah.
Kim, you're next on the screen. If things have switched around a bit.
Okay. Only Jesus was known as the Son of God and as God. This is why Jesus came as your teacher and was used as the example light for this work. This is the point that this work has striven to get across, that man and God are one. Not only is man God, but God is man and woman and child. God is.
That's amazing.
I'm rebel against that.
Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, rebel.
Yeah, oh, yeah, like I still got this thing like, no, I'm not good enough to be God. You know, come on. Yeah, it's a tough one. And yet, God could not be all that is, or God would not be relationship.
Mhm.
If the natural world around you has revealed anything to you of the nature of life and God, it has revealed to you the truth of relationship. As has been said before, if separation had severed relationship, then separation would truly exist. Each entity or being would be singular and alone. Yet God has been referred to as the all of all. How could God be the all of all and not also be man? How can God be all that is and at the same time not all that is? How can, how can God be the all powerful and living God and also be lowly and powerless man? God has also been referred to within this work as relationship itself. Let us consider this idea newly by considering God's relationship to Jesus. Okay. Who's next?
Alison, you're next.
The claimed relationship of God to Jesus was that of father to son, but also as one in being. one in being, but different in relationship?
Mm.
Mm. Could God be one in being, but different in relationship to each of us? Could not God's oneness of being be the consciousness we all share? Could not God's relationship to everything be what differentiates God from us and us from God? No idea. So that we are both one in being and different. Could it be that while we are one in being with God, we can also become more godlike through the practice of holy relationship? Could not the instructions that you have been given, such as those of access to unity and becoming a spacious self, and the means that have been used, such as the 2 levels of experience you have achieved during the days and nights of our time together, be attempts to show you how you can be more like unto God in relationship, even while you are God in being?
Mhm.
Next.
Sam?
Okay.
19.
Would this answer your question concerning how God is both different and the same? Would this answer your question concerning God's great power when compared to your own? Could you see that God's power stems from his relationship to everything rather than from his being? This is the easiest way to say this, if not quite accurate. Being is power, but being, like oneness, cannot know itself without relationship. You are one in being with your Father, with God, with the Creator, and with all creation. You are also, however, a being that exists in relationship. The extent of your ability to be in relationship is the extent of your ability to be godlike. God is the being and the relationship. You are capable of all the power of God's being, but you are powerful only as God is powerful in relationship. Because God is in relationship with everything, God is all powerful. Because you are in a state of limited relationship,
Mhm.
you have limited power.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm. Because you are in a state of limited relationship, you have limited power. This is the difference between God and man. This difference, however, can be diminished as you embrace holy relationship. As you embrace holy relationship, you can become powerful as God is
Yeah,
powerful.
beautiful.
Mm.
That's amazing. Because God is in relationship with everything, God is all powerful. Because you're in a state of limited relationship, you have limited power. Wow, how clear is that? This is
Mm,
the difference between God and man.
mm,
Mhm. This difference, however, can be diminished as you embrace holy relationship. As you embrace holy relationship, you can become powerful as God is powerful. Oh my God, beautiful. Mhm. I guess it would just take to have a look at what we're not in a relationship with and then change our mind about it.
Recently, I was uh, reading The Course of Miracles and Course of Love, and I realized I started seeing everything like just like it's a jigsaw puzzle, you know, like different pieces to fit different pieces.
Hmm.
And you know that game where you play with the computer and then you put things together and then it collapses
Oh yeah,
because
like
it collapses.
Tetris.
Yeah, that game, the things collapse like into one. It became like you can say, the terms in the Course of Miracles like peace, like love. It's a build up from something, like a forgiveness and non-judgment and so forth, and it just becomes. And then when it does that, it just becomes one. That's the relationship. And to the point, I just start seeing that the Course of Miracles can be just one word or one sentence at the end. It's just one sentence. Course of Love, just one sentence.
Yes.
But but you can't get to that point of one sentence if you have not seen the relationship of all this stuff that's surrounding. If you don't understand forgiveness, you can't be love. You have to put all those things together. And then once you do that, it just collapses and it just you're light in that. So I can't stop. I know I'm rambling, but I have to hear myself, and don't worry. I have to hear myself. But from the mountaintop to the level ground, it's the same thing. It's one thing. It's just that you have to find the relationship of
Yeah.
that.
I'm in a relationship with your rumbling.
And then with the known and unknown together, and everything just collapses into
Mhm.
one thing, into a holy relationship, just one. Actually, it's beautiful. I just can't stop myself.
Beautiful.
Well, earlier on in A Course of Love, he talked about relationship, and it opened up the idea of relationship for me with into some in relationship as being something in and of itself, not necessarily in with something other. And that's where, as human beings, we tend to put limitations on it. Relationship with
Hmm.
rather than just being in relationship.
Mm.
What about this? Says the concept of God is not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
All concepts of God, however, are compromising to God and to self. That's contradictory. But again, it's the you have to find the common denominator in all that, right? And then you can make it one. It can be one because whether it's false or not. Oh, what do you think it means actually? I'm just curious. Curious. You know what
That
I'm reading? I'm reading I think it's 32.10. The concept of God is not necessary. False concepts of God, however, are compromising to God and
mm-hmm.
to self.
Because concepts are perceptions, right? And perception is not an attribute of God, so we're thinking about it with a part of the self that's almost like unreal in a way. You know how sometimes we drop in into this beautiful state together, and then even in that beautiful state, like you can say something quite holy, but it. Junie, can you stop that? Um, yeah, and then something perceptual comes in, and it almost disturbs the peace, doesn't it?
Mm.
Mm.
A line, even something from a chorus, and it goes like, oh, because the unity is just so profound.
Yeah, you could almost see the idea of concept as the fractious self.
Yeah.
That would fraction like makes fractions out of, pulls it apart.
Mm.
I love that idea of fractious, of the word fractiousness of whatever he used earlier on. Fractiousness.
Talking about Course in Miracles, just for those who do like to listen, we had an old friend who recorded the sparkly edition of Course in Miracles, um, and we had it all cleaned up, and it's really lovely. And he reads quite fast, but he's very crisp the way he's got a really good grasp of it. So when he reads it, he speaks from this really beautiful place. So we just cleaned it all up, and I'm putting that on my YouTube channel for anyone of those who likes to listen to text. I'm gonna put he recorded the whole sparkly. So slowly I'll be putting all of it out there, just in case anybody is interested at all.
Is it like there was another thing that you sent us that we could slow down? Does it have that option on it?
Everything has a slide. If you go on YouTube, you go to this on your screen. There is this little like a flower-like thing that is called
Oh,
settings.
right, the settings, yeah.
Slow it
Right.
down. You can really fine tune it. I try to slow it down, but I kind of lost his voice, and I know his voice so well. So I thought, no, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. But yeah, it's so. I mean, I'm absolutely loving it. Like every chapter is just blowing my mind. Actually, for those who do write you so well, I'm listening to the Course of Miracles, and I think I'm listening to write you so well. It's so in there, all of it. I just could not see it like that before.
Yeah.
Quite a journey, actually. I'm having a trip with it. I'm having like aha experience again because aha is endless, and
So
particularly
Sorry.
read your Rancho book, you can see
Uh,
how massive it is. Like we think, we have a little revelation. I mean, revelation should be our daily bread, like it's a constantly
Yeah.
new, fresh revelation of what's available as we
Mhm.
can handle it, as we can open to it. And particularly, this is really suggesting to dislodge all the ideas of God we have. Remember that? It's like the less we project on what God is, the more the God can be revealed to us through our own experience.
Mm. What is the sparkly version? I've never heard of that before.
Is the one that has not been kind of altered by Vopnik.
Okay.
It's just the purest version. I think it's a purest, or like Urtex. Put it a bit more to your face. Yeah, yeah. Wow, you have one.
Mm.
Yeah. So there is no alternation. It's exactly how it was given,
Cool.
except that they put clarifications of terms. They put it at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys who set up the Sparkly, which was the Endeavor Academy, um, put those clarifications of terms at the beginning, so everything is clear. I think it should be at the beginning anyway.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea to read it before you start the rest, before you because it gives you that. And I used to go back to it as well.
Mhm.
If I was a bit unclear on something, I'd just go back there.
Yes. Sweetheart. Lovely. Anything else?
Lovely.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Hey, there's Chantal sending us hearts.
Mhm.
Lovely.
All right, darlings. Shall we leave it at that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
thank
yeah.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good week.
Thanks, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
Yeah.
Next week.
Nice to have a bigger group today, too.
Last week it looked like we are falling apart.
Oh,
Yeah, it was tiny last week.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, sweethearts.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.